Gamecocks, not surprisingly, falling to Georgia 45-16. Really tough game. I was in the building, and it was obvious and apparent from the opening snap that South Carolina was just simply outmanned, overmatched. I want to get your initial thoughts on the game, then we'll dive into the specifics with offense, defense, all that good stuff. Did the game surprise you in any way? What were your main takeaways? Again, you're a team that, I'm sure you saw in pregame with all the injuries coming out. You've already got the opt-outs. I was shocked South Carolina had enough to even field a team at some point. I thought maybe you were going to have to go play defensive back. I mean, it really got to that point. What was your overall takeaways from the game? Were you surprised in any way? Did it go how you expected? What were your thoughts on the game?
I must have missed the opt-outs.
Well, I'm talking about more JC Izzy and RJ Roderick, and I'm saying just on top of the opt-outs you already had. Then you added in Saturday with all the, Deshaun Fenwick had COVID. You had Jordan Birch out, JJ Nigbare, Aaron Sterling, Brad Johnson. Ernest Jones goes out in the middle of the game. Like, the list just goes on and on. It was crazy.
I mean, the most shocking thing to me watching it wasn't – I mean, like, on the defensive side, like, you're missing a lot of top guys. So getting pushed around like they did was not – I mean, it's still shocking to see because you would think our 2s and 3s would be able to at least somewhat hold their own in there and not get 9 yards down the field. But really, like, the shocking thing was the offensive line. I mean, that was just a turnstile for 4 straight quarters.
Yeah,
I haven't ever seen them get pushed around like that. That was just kind of shocking to see.
Yeah, and I talked about this on my show too, Alex, because it's really tough, in this game to take anything away from what the defense did because you were without so many key pieces. And I think at one point, man, you had like two guys on the field who started week 1. And outside of that, it was all backups. So, I mean, it's hard for me to beat up on the defense when you were playing. You just weren't playing with a full deck. I mean, really, you weren't playing with all your guys. Again, opt-outs, COVID, injuries, all that stuff. You didn't have all your guys out there. So it's hard for me to pull anything away concrete from the defensive performance. Let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about, though, and that's Luke Doty. Because, I mean, that's the biggest takeaway from this game as far as how he performed, how the offense performed. Talking about Luke Doty, like you said, the offensive line, I was surprised, too. And give Georgia credit. Tip your cap to them. They got one of the better defenses in the entire country. And they've got a ton of great athletes up front on that defensive side. But the offensive line gave him no time to work with. But what impressed me about Luke, and again, I want to get your takes on his entire game, but I think he threw the ball much better than people thought he would. 18 for 22, 190 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And I think I read a stat that there's only 2 other quarterbacks in South Carolina history who have thrown for, I think, 80% of their passes, completed 80% of their passes, and thrown a touchdown against an SEC team. And it was Connor Shaw twice and Steven Garcia and now Luke Doty. So, I mean, say what you want about his game. The kid showed he can spin it a little bit. And obviously, again, in the running game, we didn't get to see that quite as much because, again, Georgia was just all over him all night. And even Kevin Harris couldn't really get anything going. But your overall takeaways from Luke Doty, especially in the passing game?
I mean, he's a gamer. I mean, given he was under constant fire every time he took a snap behind center, he played his butt off. He looks really good. I mean, he's got a great feel for throwing on the run, being mobile in the pocket, feeling pressure, and to be 18 years old and be able to do those things is incredibly positive.
Yeah.
I mean, he just looked good. I mean, he wasn't able to use his wheels probably as much as he wanted to get those bigger plays where you get way outside the pocket and you let one go down the middle or down to the sidelines. But, other than that, he was putting the ball in the right spots, except for that one.
Yeah. Again, it's fresh from mistakes and it's growing pains and you can deal with it. But right. I think the biggest thing for me, Alex, with Luke Doty is he's just a guy that makes you sit up in your chair. He's a guy that makes the game exciting. And you feel like, especially with your struggles on the O-line and you really have no weapons outside. I know Nick Muse had a great game, which I want to talk about in just a second. But Luke Doty just gives you a chance. He really gives you a chance. I mean, I as much as I've, been positive about Colin Hill all season, I don't know if South Carolina scores a point with Colin Hill behind center. With the way Georgia was just getting through that pass rush they had, he'd have gotten killed. There's no other way to put it.
He would have.
So
that would have been ACL number 4.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. So I think with Luke Doty, if nothing else, he does give you a chance. And I'll give you a crazy crazy piece of information I got on Saturday night, Alex. So on the show, I talked about this on yesterday's show. I met up with a buddy of mine that actually works for Georgia football. He works personnel for Georgia, knows Bobo really well, knows Shane Beamer really well. And I know you're going to find this very interesting. He told me that according to what Bobo told one of the 247 writers at Georgia, Bobo has wanted Luke Doty since week 2. And
shocker.
One of the main reasons that he didn't play, again, because it's easy to be like Muschamp. They said he wasn't ready, but it kind of like blows my mind when I think back and I'm like, if you wanted him since week 2, why was he working out at wide receiver for like 6 weeks? Like what was the point of that? So I don't know, just crazy.
Probably just trying to get him on the field.
Yeah,
I would guess.
Yeah, but just to hear it from him, I thought that was really interesting in the sense that even, people pile on these coaches. I mean, we all do. We're all very critical. And it's like, why is this guy not out there? Why is that guy not out there? Bobo saw it too. I mean, Bobo knew like, hey, I'm riding with Colin Hill right now, but this Luke Doty guy, he definitely is the guy that gives us the best chance to win. It's just he's just not ready to play. So, and I think you're seeing that now. I mean, I don't know, it's again just ironic that it finally clicked. All of a sudden, he's ready to play after Will Muschamp is fired. I don't know how that really. I don't know if that goes hand in hand, but yeah, it's without a doubt.
It does. It absolutely goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's no question watching that Luke Doty by far gives this team the best chance to win this year, and I think it'll probably be his job to lose going into 2021. Honestly.
Oh, certainly. I mean, you're watching him grow into the job over the last 2 weeks, and so you got another opportunity this Saturday. Is it going to look any better? I don't know. I mean, I assume Kentucky's pass rush isn't anywhere near what Georgia's is, so I mean that gives you a little bit more to work with, and we've talked about this every week, but it's just like building that confidence, being able to do it on that stage against that team in front of these people, and being able to make the plays that you're executing in practice every day, like in that setting, is so big going forward. And people talk about like the bowl games being important, and it's really always more important from a practice perspective, just because you get those reps. And so him getting these reps, even though he's running for his life back there, like you see what he can do though. At the same time, he can thread the needle, he can throw on the run, he can do all the things that a top level quarterback should be able to do in addition to the mobility. And it's a shame it took 8 weeks to get him into the lineup.
Yeah, very much so.